Hello, and welcome to Team StackAttack's product demonstration. In this video, we will briefly introduce our team and its construct, introduce the product, perform some demonstrations of the various features of the product, and finally, we will talk about a few things that we would have liked to add to the product had there been enough time. The members of our team include Zach Romano, who acted as the project manager, Stephen Dow, who was the lead architect, Jay Huang, who was the lead programmer, Caleb Kolb, who was the lead tester, and Joseph Akun, who was the lead configuration manager. Clueless is a web-based version of the classic board game Clue. It can be found on the web at stack-attack.firebaseapp.com. The game supports up to 6 live players, all playing from remote locations. As long as a person has an internet connection, they can play Clueless. Players can create a new game session or join one that has already been created. Multiple sessions can be played in unison as well. StackAttack chose to create the user interface using Angular and Firebase to support the backend. Next, we'll demonstrate how to play the StackAttack version of Clue. This demonstration will show how a user can get started. Once you've navigated to the game's homepage by typing in the highlighted URL, you're ready to play the game. Start by clicking Get Started. From this point, you can either create a new session or join a previously created session. To create a new session, enter a session name and a host name, then click Create Session. At this point, a new game session has been created for new players to join. If you want to play with friends or join a previously created session, you can search for the session that has already been created and click the green icon next to the session name to join that session. Once in a session, a player can choose which suspect they would like their player to represent from a drop-down menu. If the host starts the session before players have chosen a suspect, then players will automatically be assigned a suspect. Finally, if you are at the main page, you can click Learn More to see the members of StackAttack and their individual roles. Once the game is started, there are various features available to players. The top yellow banner is where notifications are presented. Notifications include player movements, suggestions, accusations, and any required actions. Next, along the left side is a player's checklist. This is where a player can check off rooms, suspects, and weapons that are no longer under threat of accusation because of information obtained through suggestions during gameplay. The middle section of the screen contains the game board. The board consists of 9 rooms, 6 suspects, and 6 weapons. As players move and suggestions and accusations are made, the respective players, suspects, and weapons move on the board and are updated on all of the user's screens. The right side of the screen contains 4 boxes. The top box notifies players when it is their turn and gives them the options of moving, suggesting, accusing, and ending their turn. The box beneath the action box provides the session information. This box contains the session name, session host, and whose turn it currently is. Below the session information is a box containing information related to the cards that the player has in their hand. This information would be used at the very beginning of the game to allow players to start checking things off of their list, because they know these cards cannot be in a correct accusation. This information is also used to refuse other players' suggestions. Finally, the box below the player information box contains recent updates. This box keeps a log of what has happened during the course of the game and is updated on every player's screen. This demonstration will show basic player movements. When the game starts, all players must first move into their respective starting hallways. After this, players can begin moving into rooms to make suggestions. First, we will see Colonel Mustard and Miss Scarlet move into their respective hallways. After each player makes a move, they must click the End Turn button to pass play on to the next player. Next, Colonel Mustard will move into the lounge, and Miss Scarlet will move into the hall. Now, Colonel Mustard will move from the lounge to the conservatory through the secret passage. Secret passages are located in the four corner rooms. These rooms allow a player to move diagonally to the room opposite. So the study can move to the kitchen and vice versa, and a player can move from the lounge to the conservatory and vice versa. One of the rules of the game is that only a single suspect can be in a hallway at one time. In the current situation, Colonel Mustard is located in the billiard room. Professor Plum is in the hallway to the left. Miss Scarlet is in the hallway above. And Miss Peacock is in the hallway below. So the only open move for Colonel Mustard is in the hallway between the billiard room and the dining room. And as you can see, that is the only available option.
After moving into a room, a player is granted the option to make a suggestion. So for this demonstration, we have a 3-player game, and we will move Miss White into the billiard room and suggest that it was Miss Scarlet in the billiard room with the revolver. So first, we will come over here to our actions and move into the billiard room. And now we can see that we have the option to make a suggestion. So we'll click Suggest, and billiard room is already pre-selected. We'll choose Miss Scarlet and the revolver. And then now when we click Submit, we should see them move into the billiard room. And then now we're waiting for the other players to evaluate the suggestion. So if we switch to another player's view, so here we see we have Colonel Mustard, and we can see that he has the Miss Scarlet card. So we should see Miss Scarlet in here. So we will show that card to refute the suggestion, and then a notification will be sent to all of the players that the suggestion was refuted. So now if we switch back to our player view, we will see that what card was shown, so we can check off Miss Scarlet on our checklist. And now we either have the option to make an accusation or end our turn. In this case, we will opt to end our turn. At any point during your turn, you have the ability to make an accusation and try to win the game. The one risk here, however, is if you get the accusation wrong, you lose the game and only retain the ability to refute suggestions. So if we go over here and click Accuse under your actions, we can select our room, which will select the billiard room. We'll choose our suspect to be Mr. Green and our weapon to be the lead pipe, and we'll click Submit. And here we will be notified that our accusation was not correct and that we have lost the ability to win, move, and make suggestions, but we can still refute suggestions made by other players. So if we click Close and go to our next player's turn, we can see here they also have the ability to make an accusation, and here we will make the right accusation that it was in the conservatory, and it was Mr. Green with the lead pipe. And when we click Submit here, every player will be notified that the game is over and that Miss White wins. So we can see that all the players are sent this. And when they click Close, it will just send them right back to our home screen, and they can choose to play another game.
Stack Attack added some enhanced features not required in the project assignment. One enhancement includes an interactive checklist that players can use during the game to keep track of suspects, weapons, and rooms who may or may not be part of the winning accusation. Next, Stack Attack included weapon icons in the game which move around the game board during play. Additionally, notifications during gameplay are highlighted with an audio cue. And finally, multiple game sessions can be played simultaneously. there would have been more time for development, we would have liked to implement a few other improvements. The first of which is we would have liked to be able to simulate computer players with multiple difficulty levels, perhaps an easy, medium, and hard. This would also be nice if a player was to quit a session for it not to affect the game, and a computer artificial intelligence player could just pick up where the former user left off. We'd also like to integrate the game with Google Maps or Google Street View so we could make the game a little bit more personal, and instead of having your standard clue rooms like the billiard room, conservatory, etc., you could actually have real world places. Finally, it'd be nice to have some configurable settings to create custom game rules so everyone's experience could be a little bit different. So this concludes our demonstration of the game Clueless that Stack Attack created over the course of this semester. This game mimics a very realistic version of the game Clue, in particular by having a checklist where players have to manually check suspects, weapons, and rooms off of their list, just like you would in the real game. We created a game that allowed numerous sessions to be able to be played simultaneously. There was a very sleek interface, which should be appealing to users. And we created the ability to start a new session as well as join other sessions, which will allow friends to play from remote places.